Hello, I am Callum Henderson. I will be starting my undergraduate degree in architecture at the University of Cambridge in a couple of months. This is my portfolio that I took to interview with me and that got me accepted into Cambridge. So firstly, there is no one single kind of portfolio that will get you accepted into Cambridge, or indeed anywhere else. I think the most important thing about your portfolio is that it best represents you, your work, and your thoughts, because that puts you in the best place to spark a genuine discussion about your interests, so that your interview is a conversation, as opposed to merely a slideshow. I actually emailed my college to ask if they were okay with me making this video, and they said, obviously they were, but to point out, there is not one kind of successful portfolio. They tend to be very diverse, and portfolios of extremely different kinds can be equally impressive. So with that in mind, do have a good look through my work, but for reference, the college that you apply to will likely email you some guidance, so I encourage you, of course, to use that, but alongside other videos like this one, and decide how you wish to approach preparing a portfolio in a manner that best represents your art and architectural interests. So my main physical portfolio here was a collection of my work arranged neatly on A1 sheets in a roughly coherent order of my various projects. Keeping it all on the same size paper is a really good tip. It makes it much easier for the interviewers to quickly flick through your portfolio and keep everything in the same place. That being said, I did have to do a digital portfolio for some of the other universities I applied for, so I actually printed that off into an A3 booklet and took that with me to Cambridge. I found that quite useful to have as a sort of guide to my main A1 portfolio, so I'm actually going to flip through both of them together here as I did in my interview. And I also brought a few sketchbooks as well. They include both development for the major projects in the main portfolio, as well as idle sketching as and when. I'll show you those in more detail at the end of the video.
So here we delve into the start of my portfolio. My first project was a fine liner drawing of Milan Cathedral and an accompanying mixed media development piece. Next is a mood board exploring some general ideas and then its subsequent final piece. I went to a talk at the Royal Academy about architectural photography, so this is a thought response to the talk, as well as comparing it with some of my own architectural photography. Then this is my work from a workshop with artist Jeanette Barnes. Her work is largely large-scale charcoal drawings of things like busy London scenes, so in a similar manner we had to respond to prompt words in fairly quick and unplanned drawings. Then life drawing class, these are a selection of 2-minute sketches from a class I went to at the RABA as part of their Festival of Learning. Greenwich and Rain, this was a standalone photography work that I just included in the digital portfolio, and this is another standalone work, this time mixed media, inspired by a trip to Denmark that I went on. So this is the major project of my portfolio. Edgeway cam cases, it's a modular sculpture made from laser-cut plywood boxes that can be rearranged to express different ideas and shapes. It was inspired by a strange mechanical structure I saw at a dockyard, and you can see my idea development in the sketchbook here. Finally, something a little different. This was a concept design for lighting, so there's another mood board, some idea development, and some concept sketches too. That concludes my physical portfolio, so these last few pages here from the digital portfolio are just showing some photography from around the world. It was nice to have further talking point, particularly because travelling is quite a big passion of mine, but it was fun to arrange the photographs. So now that the portfolios are done, these are just the sketchbooks as promised that I also took to show. There are some sort of more boring bread and butter stuff in this first one. That's because I didn't take fine art A-level or in fact even art at GCSE, so I was trying to cover all bases. The remainder of it is then other bits of development from the projects in the main portfolio, as well as some fun idle sketches. And finally, this smaller one was a recent observational sketchbook that I would carry around with me, so these are all sketches from life as and when as I'm walking around, and even including a sketch of my college when I actually went to interview.
So that concludes all of the work that I took with me to my interview. If you're applying to Cambridge in an upcoming cycle, good luck with your application. Let me know in the comments which college you're applying to, and feel free to ask me any questions. As I said before, of course, portfolios are extremely personal, so whilst I'll answer to the best of my ability, remember this is supposed to be a reference, not a guide, because there's no such thing as a perfect portfolio. I'm also making a couple of videos that you might find useful in the near future. Firstly, about personal statements, how I went about structuring and writing the personal statement that I used in my application to Cambridge. Secondly, how I went about preparing for my interview and what my experience was like. So if you're applying, do subscribe to my channel and look out for those two videos. Secondly, if you're interested in expanding your architectural knowledge or just want to check out some more of my work, then have a look at some of the other videos on my channel, in particular the Drawing London series. That's a collection of short 2-minute videos briefly explaining the architectural history of various prominent buildings in London. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you the best of luck in your applications.